we've got Volkswagen Fox. Yeah, they shipped them separately, but I don't see one. Brand new, well, remanufactured, but brand new to me. Old new. There we go. Right here. So this is the bolt I'm waiting on. I don't know if you can see, but it is pretty bent, and I had to take this right here and let me get it off. This is that little piece of steel I was talking about. There's your threaded hole, and there's just the bore for the bolt. So it gets bolted onto the block like that, and then there's your slide bracket that sits above this hole, and your shorter bolt gets threaded right on in there, and then this kind of ends up sitting like that, and that's what tensions it. So actually, I just walked over there, and for one, I wish it was still up in the air. I'll have to get it up later to flush all the coolant stuff anyhow, but I'm not gonna bother with that right now. And this is the bolt that runs through the backside right here, and I'm not loving how the threads look. Yeah, that seems to be threading, so I'm gonna get this bolt, the head of it in the vise, and go ahead and chase these threads. There we go. That looks a lot better. There and there, those threaded bores on the block are those two. Go ahead and get this bracket into place. It's really all I've got to work with. Yeah. Somewhat, I don't know how much you're really gonna be able to see. We'll run with that. I always stuff so much shit into my pockets when I'm working on this, like wrenches, extensions, hardware, and then I always forget where I put things, and then I'll sit in a weird way, like at the end of the day, and find whatever I was looking for 2 hours before. But luckily, I needed this right now, so I pulled that bolt out of my pocket right now. Otherwise, I would have spent forever looking for it. So there we have it. Bolt 1, bolt 2, and that's what I'm talking about with wanting to rinse out my coolant channels. Pretty sure that's, if it'll focus, pretty sure that's mold in there. So yeah, we're gonna rinse it. But there's the bracket back in place. I'm gonna go grab the alternator off the bench over there and get that in. We'll see if that angle works. I remember having to pry it out of there, so I'm gonna go grab a wire brush actually and clean off this bracket, which, let me show you the bracket, just so things make sense to you. Here is that bracket, and these ears slide over that. Bolt goes through, and this little, I guess, nut, or not, it is a nut, but I don't know if there's a specific name for it, kind of gets locked in back here. It hits on, maybe it slides in, I can't remember. I'd imagine it just hits this little tab here, whether you're tightening it or loosening it, and gets it to hold it in place. But there's that. I'm gonna go grab a wire brush, like I said, clean those up, and then slap the alternator in there. Cleaned up, good enough anyhow. I also might try and see if I can pull some of this harness and vacuum lines out of my way. Got the alternator out with this in here. I realized that I don't need to flush this radiator, and I don't want to flush whatever crud is in the engine block into the radiator. So I will pull this, but not this second. So I'm gonna get this in here. All right, so I got this a punch and the ever trusty Harbor Freight screwdriver. Keep looking back at the camera and I realize you can't really see what I'm doing over here, but maybe get some kind of mount. I'm pretty sure my phone's gonna fall there, but we'll give it a shot. That one in. Go ahead and toss this nut on. Do this is just get it set on square and then start cranking the bolt. I am going to reuse this just for the time being to hold it in place, and then when the new bolt comes in, I'll swap it around. My problem now that I'm running into is that is just barely off, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen these up and see if, I can't remember, I don't think they are, but I'll see if these holes for the bolts are ellipsed at all, and if they are, I'll pull that. Actually, as I'm doing this, I'm gonna leave it all kind of loose. Like I said, this bottom one's just snug, like hand snug, not even hand tight. So I'm just gonna leave these loose and try and get as much deflection out of everything as I can to kind of guarantee that I'll be able to make this line up rather than loosen these and try and pull the bracket and have to loosen them again. So that's the plan now. Change of plans again. I can't seem to get it to bite a thread in a way that I'm comfortable with. Feels like it's cross-threading, or maybe it's just super gummed up. So seeing as these are already loose, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this bracket back off and just make sure that this bolt, and this is the one that came out of the old alternator right here, but I'm just gonna make sure, and I should have done this when I still had everything on the bench, but I'm gonna pull this bracket, make sure this goes in. If not, grab a different bolt or run a tap through it and fix those threads if I have to. There we go. Whatever they use for coating got in the threads. So I'm gonna bring that bolt with me. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's M9 by 1 1/4, but I'm gonna bring it with me just to double check and make sure I pull this thread to what it needs to be. It is 1 1/4, but M9 looks a little big. And I don't think I have M8 by 1 1/4. So, I don't know. I don't know if the camera's gonna focus on it at all. No, that looks fine. All right, that's tapped out. Didn't take a video of it because I kind of forgot. And I was wrong. It's M8 by 1 1/4, not M9. And that is the size I have. So, back to the car. I would lie and say that, oh, I was just double checking that everything worked, and that's why I forgot to put this little bracket that I was holding in my hand the entire time on, but that'd be a lie. I just forgot to do it. So at least I caught it before I snugged anything down. All right, everything's in place now. And again, boom, boom, those two there. I was able to pull some deflection out by loosening those up. That's in with that little, I guess, I don't know what else to call it, so I'm gonna call it a lap nut, even though I know that that's not what it is. This is in here, and then I guess really I don't need to run that bolt through there. I don't know why I was thinking I would, but yeah, that's in place enough. I'm going to leave these two loose until I get the tensioner bolt in here and tighten these down right now. All right, there's that. It's obviously not a ton of room right here, so you know what, I'm gonna push the car back. All right, that's it on that tow hook. It's kind of sketchy with, I mean, at least it's just the front end and not, you know, at least that end is on the ground. But I think it looks like I'm gonna be able to get enough clearance to toss a couple jack stands. We'll grab these. That'll be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably put in some stupid B-roll and get a hose. All right, B-roll is over for now. Hose has been acquired, and I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the shop with it. Pretty good. I never took the thermostat housing off. And when I looked at that, I realized I also don't know what I have for gasket maker, like any Permatex kind of sealant, but doesn't have to go back together today. Just want to get it rinsed out, and I'll probably call it after I get this rinsed out. So do that real quick. So I'll flip it in a second. Got hair on my hand. You can see the hair stuck on my hand, still there. There it goes. That is the inside of the housing there. I'd seen this before from pulling that upper radiator hose off and, you know, peeked down there a little bit, but that's not looking too promising. And then it all fell out, but those happen to be acorns. And those were inside the thermostat housing, and more mold, looks like. Oh yeah. And then here is the old thermostat, and that's its new home. There it is. It's really not doing as much as I'd like it to. There's some coming out. So with there still being some water in the cooling channels, it's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on in there. Let me switch hands. Yeah, as soon as it goes underwater, I kind of lose what I'm looking at, but it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look great. It's really all I could see on the camera there. I couldn't get it too much. If you look, there's a bend in the block. In the casting of the block, that is. You can see I was going through right here, and the channel does one of those. So I couldn't get past that with the camera. Not looking wonderful, but I'm not too worried, to be completely honest. My plan is I'll run some distilled water. That's probably cheaper than the cheapest coolant I could find at a parts store. So once the water pump's on and the thermostat's in and all that, I'm gonna run distilled water through the entire system and let that, blast whatever junk's on the walls of those cooling channels, blast that off and then drain it. And obviously, being a car that I'm gonna beat the shit out of, fluid changes will be pretty frequent, and I'll be able to catch anything as things happen, or hopefully before, but we'll see. So I'm gonna go get the hose back, send it through here. Well, I'm gonna hook this back up here, disconnect it from the radiator, shoot it out that way, and see what happens. I might try and get I've got some nylon brushes, and I might try and scrape up some more of that. It looked like most of the buildup, from what I could see just looking into it and then looking into it with the bore scope, so obviously not very deep into those channels, but it looked like most of the actual coolant buildup was like right at the water pump. So scrape that. Like I said, I'll do that with the distilled water once everything else gets here, waiting on that water pump, like I've said probably 30 times. And I would assume that the thermostat is pretty universal between all the KA blocks. I would hope that any parts store around here would have one, or I guess not any, but a parts store around here would have one. So I'll just pick up one of those, throw all that together, and then we'll see how my distilled water idea goes. I think that'll work fine. And yeah, thanks for watching.